Okay, why is the adult industry so important for the video gaming industry as a whole? Because before we even talk about it, I need to tell you why you should care. And I'll give my arguments and you get to decide if they make sense or not. But basically, the adult industry was considered an entry level for an indie game dev position. Why is that? Well, let's say you're a coder and you have some talent and you want to work for a company. Now, the way to do that, especially in 2025, is to show a resume, to show that you're capable at doing the task. And what most game devs did was that they would make an adult game. Why? Well, first of all, it doesn't really require any gameplay. Like, as long as you have good art, and as long as you can make the characters bounce, and you can add some compelling story to it, it's a game that can actually raise you a couple of funds in order to either start your own safe-for-work independent game afterwards, or show to a company, it's like, look, I can actually code, I can actually make something. And believe me, like, there are a lot of these cases. There's a lot of artists that ended up doing like normal safe-for-work stuff, but they used their launching pad with the adult industry. There's a lot of game developers that made very successful indie games that are PG-13, but in order to do them, they raised money by making an adult game. And the reason I know it is because I know what's happening behind the scenes. And these people, you know, they would use different names, like they would use a pen name when making the adult game. And then when they made the proper game, they used a different company. And so this was actually a very good starting point for a lot of talented people in order to get into the industry. And people that made indie games as well, they would look at the adult games and they would be like, okay, who's this artist? Like, this artist seems really talented. Who's this developer? Seems to be promising. This is in huge contrast to the way AAA works. The way AAA works is the HR lady decides. And the HR lady just gets people that graduated from a university with zero actual experience. And then she screens for ideology and she looks at what they post on Twitter and whatnot. And that's the people that she hires, right? And so, like, we were witnessing a huge change in the way things work. This is why a lot of AA games were very popular last year. It's because, like, they were changing the mindset on how things should work. Instead of hiring people from universities, instead of hiring people that, you know, graduated someplace but have no experience, the AA industry was now looking at, all right, what did you create? What is the game that you've made? And so a lot of people, as I mentioned before, they would look at the adult industry. And the adult industry had ups and downs. One of the ups is that you could actually allow your imagination to go wild. And there was a lot less pressure. Meaning that you had less eyeballs on you. People were like, oh my god, what do you mean by that? Oh, sexism, misogyny. Oh no, that's racism. You can't have that. Right? And it was also like, oh, this glorifies blah, blah, blah. You had a lot less of these activists up your ass. Right? By making an adult game. And not to mention, like, if it's an adult game, like, anything goes. Because you're already breaking the ESRB. Like, might as well go full on, right? Have the girls smoking if you want, have drinking, like whatever. It's a game for adults. Like, children aren't going to see it. Young people aren't going to play it. Like, no one is going to watch a lady smoking a cigarette and then think smoking is cool, right? Now, apparently, that's not the case anymore. Now they're cracking down on this industry. And the crackdown has no logical sense. Like, what I mean by this, if you watch an adult movie and it has violence, for many people that's shocking content, that's disturbing, right? Like, no one wants to see a woman getting smacked. Well, okay, well, maybe some people want to see a woman getting smacked, but you know what I'm saying? Like, most people, right? Like, your mother, she would be like, ugh. But if you play a video game and you have a Sakubasu that's killing demons, and at the end of the game, she's doing the cushy, that's not violence. That's gameplay. Like, it's very difficult to make, you know, any type of game that is absolutely sanitized and also has, like, some adult elements into it. And now, what's happening is that the payment processors are not just looking at the characters. It's like, okay, do the characters look over the age of 18? Now they're actually looking at the story, at the plot, at what's everything in the game. And it's becoming really difficult for people that actually want to create something to be able to create something. What it favors now is shovelware. What it favors is AI slop. Like, if I make 20 games with AI, which are very easy to make, I can probably finish one of them in a month if I want, and I upload like 20 or 25 of them on Steam, maybe 10 get banned, the other ones go through, I make my money back, and that's the business now. And this is what we're going to get, right? Like, the artistic talent that AA is going to be recruited are going to be focusing mostly on AI, because, like, that's probably the only way it guarantees you're going to get your revenue back. And, I mean, just so you can understand how ridiculous this is, imagine a theater group, right? Like, they're making theater, and you have, like, the banks going in to decide what is and what isn't allowed to happen in the play. And if the banks aren't satisfied, then they don't get a POS. Like, it's fucking mental, isn't it, right? Like, I know that some people don't agree with the adult industry. Like, that's fine. But don't you think this is a little bit ridiculous? Just like, tiny bit. And don't you think it normalizes and it glorifies censorship and the idea that payment processors should be able to dictate on content? Because that's another thing. You know, I see a lot of right-wingers cheering for this. And it blows my mind because for the last 10 years, the right-wingers themselves were constantly suppressed by the processors. Like, you constantly had PayPal demonetizing or debanking streamers and content creators that were right-wing. And now seeing right-wingers cheering and normalizing this behavior further blows my mind, especially when everyone knows, or at least should know, that there's going to be a time when the Democrats are going to be back in charge. Like, right-wingers haven't won in perpetuity, right? Elections will still happen. At some point, the Democrats are going to win elections. And you normalize the system where now the left and the right agrees that, yeah, no, payment processors should actually be able to police the internet. And from what I know, and what I've noticed, is that when it's right-wingers doing it, they're very soft on policing. They're not really that hard. When the left does it, they have no shame. So why are you justifying in the mind of the people this behavior? Now, I understand the idea of like, okay, your guys are in power, you need to show some muscles. You know, now you can crack down on the opposition because like they do it to you as well. Fine. But this was never the opposition. Like, Steam was never part of the culture war. Steam never actually did anything to deserve this. That's my point, you know? Like all these developers that are now at risk of losing their homes because they invested money in a project that they wanted to use in order to jumpstart their career, or entire studios that are going to be out of a business, right? Like, just so you know, like most of these people aren't wealthy. Like, I know these people. Like, some of them are struggling to pay rent. Some of them are taking care of their sick family. Like, they just have a skill, you know, they can draw. And the only thing that they're good at is that. So, like, they're trying to make an honest living. They're paying taxes. And now they have to suffer this nonsense. Why? Like, they weren't part of the political debate. They weren't the enemy. It's just like average people trying to make a game that probably most people wouldn't even play. But it was enough for them to have something on a resume. It's just wild to me, you know? But anyway, whatever. Turns out that these decisions have removed one of the things that a lot of these companies relied on, which is early access. Now, the reason early access was important is because, first of all, they could fund their projects doing it. And while I'm aware that Steam said early access is actually not something for developers to fund their game, but it's mostly to engage with the community in order to change course of development decisions. Sure, but in reality, right, like a lot of people in this sector were focusing on the early access for funding. But more importantly than that, they were focused on it for advertising. Like, a lot of these games, they don't get advertisement anywhere, right? Like, I myself am not an extremist. I don't want to open YouTube and see an ad with boobies, right? Like, there's a time and place for everything. I don't want to go on the main page of Steam and all of a sudden see titties bounce. But I do understand that there should be a place for that, and the place was the early access. That's how they would advertise. You'd go there, you would log on Steam, like it's already counterintuitive how to figure out how to unlock all of the adult content. So you unlock all the adult content, you consent you want to see it, and then you'd get to see the early accesses, right? And now Steam doesn't allow it. Why? Well, because before, it was very easy for a mod from Steam to see if your game is legal. So they would look and check if all the characters are over the age of 18. They would look and check if any of the settings are like in a high school or anything like that. And if they weren't, then they would say, all right, your game is greenlit. And that's it. Now they can greenlight your game and you're doing early access and then you're adding a story about hypnosis or the stepsister comes in or anything like that. They can't know, right? Like they don't have enough moderators to constantly check on every single game. And so they're basically saying, yes, for adult games, no more early access. What this will do is it will generate a lot of AI slop. AI slop is easy to make. It's already being a problem with inflating the number of shovelware titles to absurdity. And so, you know, like this is the future. As I mentioned before, this will change the ecosystem. Up until now, the AA guys, they would hire coders and artists from the adult industry. But if the entire adult industry is built around people making AI slop, well, that's what they're going to hire. So they're probably going to focus on AI more. You're probably going to see more AI slipping into the AA industry. And it's kind of a shame because I definitely was looking at what happened last year and I was noticing that the Western entertainment industry is starting to grow, especially in the AA section. And now we're going to witness another fall as that's going to be inundated by AI. It is what it is, you know, I guess we're going to have to suffer 10 more years. I thought that once the feminists are out of power, like, we may actually notice another renaissance of American soft power, like we did with the Hollywood in the 90s and the video game industry in the early 2000s, but I guess we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.